What I put on my kitchen scales here, this is only approximate, it is on a carpet, so that's about right, 20, I think it says 20, 23 on the box. Uh, 23.5 kilograms, so it's damned heavy and it's quite sizable. I'll show you a bit more just now. Well, I put on the dining room table, I had to like roll it on. I got on a chair first, and then on the table I had to move this off because this started slipping temporarily. It's like a cover thing. It is big. Just knocking the tripod there. So you get this idea of the size there. I'll give you the measurements when I can find my tape measure. I've fallen on the floor. So this is obviously the measurements of the box. So it's 720. Getting this in that way. 730 that way. And the height 300. Oh, sorry, it's 315, I would say. Right, let's move it over this side a little bit. It is heavy, so you probably want 2 people with this. Right, I'm going to get my famous scissors out, folding scissors, which I got free with some washing liquid. This come in a bottle of liquid years ago. I can just use the edge of these scissors to put down this sellotape. There's something here, I think it might be just a receipt sort of thing. Some notes. I've photocopied. Some sort of sticker on here. Let me read these. It's just basically telling you about the printer. You know, it's got auto leveling, power off and resume, and the size 350 by 350 by 400. That's big. Let me show you on this tape. So there's 350. It's about 13 3/4 inches, near enough exact actually. So you can't even get that all in the camera. So that's the size of the bed. Yeah, it's about the size of this flap here. So you can see my hand, and I tend to have pretty, well, fairly largish hands. Put my scissors away. So there's plenty of unboxings online and all, but each person does their own unboxing, and they might show you different things. Some nice foam or a big block of foam there. I find it very hard to see in this display. Put that away. And this is a build plate. It's got some like paper clips on, 4 paper clips. I think this is a build plate. And there's a guidebook there. So, can I wiggle it out? Oh, it's on these couple of rails. It's fastened to these rails. Oh, that's surprisingly heavy, that. I'm glad that the build plate doesn't move in this, using this method. That's got the heat pad with some insulation on there, and 4 adjustment knobs, although this does have the BL touch for auto control. So what we got a nice big plug for power for the heat bed, and we got a thermostat plug. I'll just put this, I'll put this somewhere else safe. It does have a plastic coating on to protect it. I'll put this somewhere safe. So that's like the build plate, which looks like it has some sort of slightly bumpy surface on that. I think that will be a good surface to build on. I'll show you that when I take it out the cellophane. Let's put this somewhere safe. Then take this off. Or you do get a spool of filament. I can't guarantee the colour you will get. If you get the same, was it 200 grams, 1.75 PLA white. So that's quite a good spool, sorry. You know, you can make some good prints with that, some good test prints if nothing else. Then we've got the filament spool holder. I might not want to use exactly this one. I have one of my own that actually rolls around on bearings. So that's for holding the filament. Be careful here because there are some nuts, T-nuts in here. Make sure they haven't gone under any edges, just a couple of T-nuts there. They're probably for the spool holder, to fasten the spool holder. These are known as T-nuts. Yep, they have a bit of a grip on. Sorry there, I'm going out. Put those down near the spool. I think that's what they're for. Spool holder. I've got this one, like a cross thing. That's for the Zs, whatever. Right, lift this up. Oh, it's not too bad, not as heavy as what I thought. I think the bed might be just slightly heavier than this. This is the main sort of gantry. It's got the run out detection thing here, stepper, and like that stepper powers along here, which drives these belts, which moves the gantry backwards and forwards. Got some micro switch type end stops on. There's a QR code there. I'll hold that on the screen. Can I get, so if you pause the video you might be able to scan this. So the belts are fitted already. I hope they're reasonably tight. Well, reasonably adjusted. I'll be careful with this because if you put this down the other way up, obviously that's going to bang against something. This is metal with a plastic sort of surround for the filament out. Run out detection. I've got quite a longish wire, just untangle that again. Well, untangle it, and then you've got some plugs. Sorry I keep going out here because I'm having to, it's very hard to get this in. For XYZ. Got another sort of, oh there's a BL touch there. Oh, it is moving. It is moving under gravity there, so be careful if you tip it up. See, that's moving. Just turn this round a bit. So there's the main extruder and a beer touch there. The hot end inside. And obviously, oh, it must have a sock on there. Looks like it's got a nice, what the term as a sock over the hot end. Sort of nozzle there. Looks like quite a nice extruder. I probably will be replacing this extruder, feeder I should call it really, this feeding mechanism here. This is plastic. I do have a metal one on order which is dual gear. Not for this, that was for my other printer, but my other printer's giving up the ghost. So that stepper, at least that stepper has a plug to plug in. So one stepper over there, one stepper over there, one stepper here for the extruder. Okay, let's get back to this. I won't be putting it together in this video. This is just an unboxing. I think we only get one plug. This is a UK plug, kettle type plug. UK have three like square prongs on. Fused, yeah. So basically just a standard sort of kettle type plug as known as IDE, I think. Something like that, don't quote me. Take this foam block out. That goes over the stepper over there. And we've got, I think this is one of the sides, one of the Z's. Z or Z. Yeah. So there's two of these, left and right. I don't know which one is which. I think they do have a mark on somewhere. There's a stepper there. Quite a smallish stepper. And sort of thing that like allows for any outer kilter to gas. So that's one of the Z's, left or right, I don't know which one. I don't know if there's any difference really. There will be a mirror sort of image of each other, I suppose. Take a bit more foam out for this one. Yep. Been a bit more awkward this one. There we are. So pretty much the same for the other side. So two Z threaded rods and four of these like smooth rods. They look like 8mm to me, I think they are. Be careful here, don't want all this falling off. Look like good bearings on here. Seems quite smooth that. Let's get back up to here. We've got another biggish thing of foam. Seems a little bit tight in there. Cut out for, I can see the control box in here. And the base sort of thing. So then we've got the control box. Quite a few wires on here. Now these do have labels on most of these wires. So I've got a fan here, small fan, got another ventilation there for the power supply. I will be opening this up and showing you inside just now, because I want to check the voltage. There's no switch on the outside, I don't think, no access. Well, there's a switch to the main power, but I mean, there will be a voltage switch on the power supply that I want to double check. There's a main switch there. Need a display. This is a display. I imagine that's got some plastic on. SD cards, small micro SD cards. USB, small USB. Ah, there's a hole there. I imagine that hole there, but doesn't seem to line up so far as I can see, is for switching the voltage. But there's no indication of any voltage on that inside there, as you can see. So that's the control. A few black marks on here. Don't know if you can see them. It's almost like a felt tip pen's gone across. Right, let me put this somewhere safe to make sure there's nothing else in the box. It's heavy. And then we've got all of this. Let me make sure there's nothing else in there. No, so as you can see, I'll just... there's another box over there. So I suppose this is accessories. Don't think there's anything else. Accessories like nuts and bolts and bed scraper and such like. There's spanners, some cable clips. Good. A couple of spanner type things and Allen keys, screwdrivers, some tie wraps. Something else in there in cardboard. Not sure what that is. I think I think it's the cutters, like edge cutters. So again, at least on the bigger ones, and the small ones, we've got ball ends on the Allen screws. That's good, because on the Allen keys, sorry, because you can go in at a bit of an angle if you need to. You've got a USB. Thing with a card in. I presume this can come off and that'll plug in the USB. We've got a nozzle there. We've got some Bowden fittings. I think that's 6mm. The thread on that, I think. Some like clips. And we've got packets, a few packets of balls, some end. Are those T-nuts? No, they don't look like it, just look like normal screws. Right, okay, is there anything else in here? Yes, there's a USB lead. Let me get this out so I can see how long it is, if I can. These bags can be quite hard to open. I mean, quite often when they give you USB, they give you, you know, so short they're pointless actually. Not too bad. I estimate that to be about 1 metre long, maybe even 1.5 meters. So it's that type of USB where it's got the funny shape to it. I can't remember. I presume that will fit the power supply, well, the control box. We do have another, I think this is a Euro kettle plug wire type thing. A 2-pin one. And we get like a scraper thing. I would always say be careful with these because they do have sharp corners, so you might damage your bed. You might want to, well, I would, if I was using this one, I'll be using one of my older ones I've got for my old printer probably. file that down so that's round the edges, so it's less likely to dig in the bed. You know, if you're scraping something off the bed, that corner goes in. That's damage to your bed. I think this has some sort of oil or something on it. Oh, let me put that down there. And that is that, basically that box empty. That small box. Now this, see, there's some rails here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 40 by 20s. With pre-threaded ends in each end, yeah, pre-threaded those holes. You don't have to thread them. Right, let me check that. Nothing in there, I don't think. I want to take this out. There might be some leaflet or something underneath it. Nothing, the box is empty. You can get an idea how big it is. Even this is reasonably heavy. That's about 20 millimeters thick, that foam there at the bottom. I don't know if you can see the join line just going along here. I'll just about make it out. So you get quite a protection there, but there's nothing else in the box. So that's the only packing. Oh, completely air coming up there when I'm putting that on. Just put some of this back. I think I put this round the wrong way, actually, going in here. It does go that way. That's where the power supply was. I'm pretty sure it does. Well, I'll just put this back and then I'll come back. So I'll put the two like spare T-nut bolts on here just so that they don't get lost. That's the spool holder. As I say, I mightn't be actually using this. I might do another print out actually to go in there and put mine on. That can rotate under some bearings. Got these like edge end cutters, sort of. These are nice, almost softish silicon rubber handles. These nice, yeah. Seem lightweight, look nice and sharp. So be careful. Be very careful actually. And then you get, as I said, some Allen keys which have the round ends on one end and normal ends on the other end. So they can be put in a little bit of an angle if you need to. Then something else you get is like a cleaning needle for cleaning out the nozzle. Another thing to be careful with, mind you don't get spiked. That's for cleaning the nozzle if you need to. Hopefully you won't need to too much. Some screwdrivers, a couple of spanners, some tie wraps. Useful. Okay, I'm going to get the power supply because I said I'll show you inside, well, the control board sort of thing. I'll show you inside that. So it's just got 6 look like button headed Allen bolts, 1 in each corner and 2 about the middle there. I'll undo them and then I'll come back. There's the screws on. Now be careful opening this because there's a small fan here and I think that is definitely connected. If I can seems to be a bit that you can get hold of there. Yes, that's connected. Remember where that goes. So there's a power supply, RSP 524, so it's 24 volts, 100 to 240 AC, 5.9 amps, 24 volts, 21 amps. Yep, good connections. I'll show you a bit closer. Control board. Oh, I thought something was loose there, but it's just like a thing to tell you which wire it is. A MOSFET here, and the display unit over there. Right. I'm going to look at this power supply to find out where the switch is, right? I just noticed there that does say MW Meanwell. Now Meanwell are supposed to be good power supplies. Got a fan on there. There's 4 bolts that come in the side. I can't see any voltage adjusting switch there. Can you see one on this side? No. So it might be a universal one. You can get almost universal that will go from 100 to 240 input without having to switch. That's what I'm assuming. But some do have switches on. And it has a definite hole in the side there for a switch, but that might be if you want to replace the power supply with one that does have a switch on. So it's got these metal, well, these look like aluminium brackets on the side of the power supply to bolt it in. So I'll just zoom in on that so you can see the Meanwell. So Meanwell. Check the number out, RSP-500-24. Good terminal clamps on there. So I'll screw that back in just now because there's definitely I can't see any adjustment there. There's the fan, quite a thickish fan, looks like at least 20 if not 25mm thick, that fan. Oops, sorry. Got some openings, but there doesn't seem any power supply switches so far as I can see. Got an adjustment there for the voltage output if it's not spot on, but I reckon that will be spot on. I'll bolt this back in. I'll just show you that those wires do run underneath the power supply, because this is not totally flat when it's bolted in there. So you've got these cables running underneath the power supply. So be careful with this metal part here that doesn't stamp onto the cables when you're putting it back. Might be best to move it over a bit. So that's I think that's an improvement, because I don't think that it give the Meanwell supplies, because they are rated quite good quality, the Meanwells, like this one is. I'll screw this back together just now. Where's the hole at? Over there, I see. So when I screw it back together, that'll lift that power supply off the bottom a bit. I'll do that off camera. So put the power supply back in. As you see, the terminals here are quite well clamped. And that can come off that plastic cover, but I'll put that on later, a bit better. But I'm going to show you the control board here. So this is the ribbon cable going to the display here. And you've got end stops, some hot glue or whatever it might be, MOSFET over this side. So let's have a look at the control board. Get this wire out of the way. I'm not sure what stepper drivers these might be on here. But they can't be removed. because they're actually fastened to the board, so to speak. I don't want to take the heat sinks off. I don't know if there's anything written on there. I cannot see. My eyesight is shot. Version 2.2 board this. There's crystal there. SD card on the side, micro SD. Looks like a big MOSFET there. Is that a MOSFET? So it's a 24 volt system. Got a MOSFET here. Biggish MOSFET, biggish heat sink on. For the heat bed, I presume. Well, as far as I know. Then we've got the display. So those are the XYZ. Let's put a focus on this wire, I think, there. Let's look at those caps. 35 volts, yeah. So there's a bit of a look inside. I'll put the bottom plate back on, turn it over, and I'm going to do a separate video of, well, it won't be exactly putting it together, but any pointers I come across putting it together. So far as I can tell, the power supply does not need switching for 110 to 240, so far as I can tell. Well, with this one, check your power supply, because some of the earlier models of this certainly came with a different power supply. Right, when I've got all this out, it did look smaller actually when I put this out over here. There's quite a bit of weight in the empty box with the foam actually. So let's have a look at the instructions. So far as I know, these are just, well, mainly build instructions. Something in here. After sale service card. Got a new smell to this. So if you want to try and scan that in, can do. You might want to keep that for bed leveling actually. I might ask you to keep that for bed leveling, so don't throw it out. Yep. And it's a description of all the bits you get and how to put together. Oh, it's in colour. Well, it's got some colours on it. Yes, yellow and red at least, and grey. So you can see some of the, hopefully you can read that writing there. Looks pretty good English so far as I can see. So I think they've improved the instructions from some of the earlier versions. And it just describing how to put together. Loading filament. Want the power on for that. Software installation. I presume the software on the card that came with the USB sort of converter stick. I think that's what that USB thing was. And a diagram at the back of the board, and like describing what goes where. So there's a diagram. Nice colour picture. I'm just going to glance through this to see if it says what type of drivers are on this board. Well, I can't see any description of the drivers. I think they are the A class, so they're not the trinamic white ones. And because these are actually soldered to the board, there's not really any way of replacing those. You'd have to get a new, completely replaced board, so to speak. Well, enough of that, I think. I'll just show you the bed. So it does have a plastic coating on. These like clip things, document type clips. I'll just peel up some of this because I don't want to take this protective coating off. Yep, it's like a very fine bump. Ender. I'll take you in for a closer look just now, don't panic. And it does look like 2.5 maybe 3mm thick glass there with this coating on, which as I say is a bit bumpy. So it's got very big adjustment knobs for adjusting the level, although as I say it's got auto level on, some springs, look like good quality springs, heat pad. You do want a strain relief on these wires. Doesn't come with a strain relief, this printer, but get strain relief printed out and put it on here. Just making sure I'm not pulling on that wire because it will pull those solder joints off. Good solder contacts. Trying to get that in. Right, I'll actually show you the surface of the bed if I can. How to do this. So that it did come with this cellophane wrap round which had the instructions underneath. I can probably use this back plate which I haven't put on yet to weigh that down. I'll just show you this corner of this bed close up, the surface. So as you can see, it's got these like bumps on which help grip the part. I'm going to use that to focus on. Right, I want to put that back down actually while I'm putting it together. I'll put this away because you want to protect your surface at all costs. So that is the bed. See the size of it here. Let's measure that actually. So the print area is 350 by 350 by 400, but this bed itself is 380 by 370, so it is a little bit shorter one way than the other. Like that way is 370 and this way is 380. So look at the thickness of that. I estimate the total thickness to be about 5mm. That's including this sort of aluminium. Is it aluminium? Well, I can just see the heat tracks there. You can probably see the heat tracks here, so they do go quite close to the edge there on all round, so as I can tell. See those bumps there. Right, let me put this away safe. And it's quite a weight, this, so this doesn't want to be moving backwards and forwards, which it doesn't with this method. It's not core XY, the actual gantry moves. Instead of the bed moving backwards and forwards, the gantry moves backwards and forwards on the top. But that will be probably shown in a later video, I imagine. I'm going to finish off there. I think that's everything like for an unboxing.